Hello everybody, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you all. I am Mr. Ibrahim Al-Najjar. I am going to explain a new lesson in our course book for Plus 4, Module 3. Today, we will explain Lesson 3E, Teen Problems. Open your book, page 43. We will start with the aims or the objectives of the lesson. A. To provide a sample of a letter to an advice column asking for advice. Here we have a page of a magazine, and this is the advice column. Advice column, it's a column in which the writer gives advice to people who have problems. So you will read a sample of a letter to the advice column asking for advice. B. To provide or give students a sample of a letter giving advice. After we read the sample of a letter asking for advice, we will read a sample of a letter giving advice. The writer gives advice to the boy who had a problem. Okay? C. To give students practice in asking for and giving advice. You will practice how to ask for advice and how to give advice. D. To present set phrases. To give you set phrases or set sentences to ask for and give advice and make students practice them. Here you will find set phrases or fixed phrases. You should memorize them. They will help you to ask for and give advice. E. To give students practice in writing a letter. In this section, we will write a letter to an advice column asking for advice. Imagine that you have a problem and write a letter to the advice column asking for advice. Okay. Here we will read the advice column. Read the letter to an advice column of a magazine and answer the questions. A boy who had a problem sent his problem to the advice column to the writer or the journalist Ron Roberts. Ron Roberts is a journalist who works for a magazine and who writes in the advice column. Okay? Having probes means problems, is a short for problems. We all have problems, but I want to know about yours. I want to know your problem. So write to me. If you have a problem, Ron Roberts says, write to me. Send me your problem. And let's see, from the picture here, what do you think the problem is? Oh, yes, I think the problem is that a boy had an accident and crashed his bike. Yes, let's see. The boy says, I've got a problem and I'm not sure what to do. Last week, my friend Kevin needed a bike to go to the shops. I couldn't give him mine because it had a flat tire. My brother has a new bike, so I gave him his. However, now I'm in a big trouble because my friend had an accident and he crashed it. He crashed the bike. He crashed my brother's new bike. What should I do? What can I do? I'm so upset. My brother really likes his bike. Should I say that I crashed it? Should I lie and say that I crashed it myself? If I tell my brother I did it, he will be really angry. But if I tell him I lent or I gave it to Kevin, he will be even angrier. He will be furious. He will be very angry. I'd like to fix it. I'd like to repair it. But I need a lot of money to do that. And I'm only 14. I'm a student. I don't work. I have no money. Can you help me, please? Or can you please help me? Boy in trouble. Reading. So, my dear students, what is the boy's problem here? Okay, what is his problem? Yes, very good. He lent to one of his friends his brother's bike. He gave his brother's bike to one of his friends, and his friend crashed it. He had an accident and he crashed it, and he doesn't have money to fix it. Very good. Number two, what phrases, what sentences does he use to ask for advice? When you ask for advice, you use fixed phrases. What phrases did he use? Yes, very good. He said, hmm, what should I do? Very good. The underlined phrases here. Should I say that I crashed it? Can you please help me? So these phrases are used to ask for advice. What should I do? Should I say that I crashed it? Can you please help me? Very good. Number three, what advice would you give him? Imagine that this boy in trouble asked you to give advice. What advice would you give him? Yes, some will say, tell your brother the truth. Tell your brother what happened really. Okay, very good. Let's see the answer. Read the advice Ron Roberts gave to the boy in trouble and answer the question. Here is the writer's reply. Here is the advice the journalist Ron Roberts gave to the boy. Let's read it. First of all, I don't think you should lie. You shouldn't lie to your brother. It's always important to tell people the truth. Perhaps you shouldn't try to fix the bike because you might make it worse. Explain that your friend needed your help and you were trying to do a good thing. Tell him that you made a mistake and that you have learned your lesson. I hope everything goes well. This was Ron Roberts' reply and Ron Roberts' advice to the boy in trouble. Let's answer the following questions. Was the advice Ron gave to the boy similar or like your advice? Was the advice similar to yours, like it? Some will say yes, it was, and some will say no, it wasn't. Okay, what about the second question? What phrases does the writer use to give advice? What sentences does he use to give advice? Yes, we will use you should, you shouldn't. Very good. First of all, I don't think you should lie to your brother. Okay, let's see. Perhaps you shouldn't. So, when you give advice, you use you should or you shouldn't. Okay, first of all, I don't think you should lie. Perhaps you shouldn't try to fix the bike. Okay, let's move on. We have set phrases. On the right section of page 43, you will find set phrases or fixed phrases asking for advice and giving advice. Here are some set phrases asking for advice. When you ask for advice, you have to follow these steps. The first thing, state or say your problem. Use expressions like, the problem is that, I have got a problem with. For example, you say, the problem is that I can't study English. It's difficult. I don't understand it. I can't speak English well. Or, I have got a problem with my brother. He always takes my things without asking. Okay, describe how you feel. After you say or after you state the problem, you should describe how you feel. Use expressions like, I feel down. I feel terrible. I'm in trouble. I'm upset. I'm unhappy. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So, when you have a problem and you ask for advice, the first thing you say or state your problem, and then you say how you feel. After that, ask for advice. You say, I need your advice. What should I do? Can you please help me? And so on. So, the three steps here helps you to write a letter asking for advice. First thing, state your problem or say your problem. Then describe how you feel. You say, I'm unhappy, I'm in trouble, I'm upset, I don't know what to do. And the third thing, you ask for advice saying, what should I do? I need your advice. Can you please help me? And so on. Okay, let's move on to the set phrases giving advice. How can you give advice? What phrases can you use to give advice? When you give advice, use expressions like, or phrases like, or sentences like, I think you should tell the truth. I think you shouldn't lie. I think you should see a doctor, and so on. Perhaps you should practice or exercise more. Perhaps you shouldn't watch too much TV, and so on. First of all, you can, don't worry, calm down, cheer up, be happy, don't be sad, and so on. Everything will be just fine. It's going to be alright. I hope everything goes well. I hope everything ends well. So you can use these phrases or sentences to give advice. Very good. Now, let's move to exercise D. Complete the text with the phrases A to F. Here we have some phrases, and here we have a letter asking for advice, and on the right we have a letter giving advice. We will complete the missing parts with these phrases. Let's read them. A. What should I do? We use this phrase when we ask for advice. What should I do? I have got a problem with. We use this phrase when we have a problem. First of all, we use it when we give advice. Yes, very good. Don't worry. Giving advice. Everything will be just fine. Also, this is used when we give advice. I feel terrible. He is expressing how he feels. So this is asking for advice. Let's read and complete with a suitable phrase. My sister, I used to help her with her homework, but I've stopped because I've got exams soon. Now she gets really bad marks and she's not talking to me at the moment. I know her homework is important, but mine is too. To help her, worried sister Beth. Here we have a letter asking for advice. How can we start? What phrases suits number one? Yes? Huh? Very good. I have got a problem with my sister. Very good. Excellent. Okay. I have got a problem with my sister. I used to help her with her homework, but I have stopped because I've got exams soon. Now she gets really bad marks and express your feeling. Yes, very good. I feel terrible. Very good. She's not talking to me at the moment. I know her homework is important, but mine is too. Ask for advice. What should I do? Very good. Excellent. Okay. Here we have a letter giving advice. What is the suitable phrase here to start with? Very good. We will start with first of all. At the beginning, you should try to explain to your sister that you can't help her all the time. Also, try to help her by showing her how to study. Don't do her homework yourself, but help her do it herself. Try to help her by showing her how to study. If it is difficult for her in the beginning, don't worry. Very good. She will learn how to do it in the end. Make sure you do well in your exams and everything will be just fine. Excellent. Next, our writing section. Exercise E. Write a letter to an advice column describing a problem you have. Imagine that you have a problem and you will send your problem to the advice column in a magazine asking for their advice. Let's write a letter. First, go to the workbook page 124 and complete the writing plan. Remember, Remember to use fixed phrases to state your problem, describe how you feel, and to ask for advice. Very good. Let's move on to our writing section, page 124. Okay, writing plan. A letter asking for advice. Before you write, who are you writing to? I am writing to, let's say, Mr. Ron Roberts um, in the advice column. Okay. Why are you writing? To ask for advice. What are you writing about? I am writing about a problem. Okay. Say why you are writing. Use an appropriate phrase to state your problem. Mention or say your problem. For example, many students have difficulty in learning English. Let's say that this is a problem and you will send a letter asking for advice. Okay? You can say, I have got a problem and I can't deal with it. I have got a problem and I don't know what to do. What is the problem? Yes, I can't study English and I always get bad marks in the exams. Very good. How do you feel? We said we have 3 steps to write about a problem to ask for advice. First, mention or say the problem, say how you feel, and then ask for help. How you feel? I'm upset, I feel down, I feel terrible, and so on. Okay. Ask for advice. What can I do? What should I do? I need your advice, and so on. Signing off, close with an appropriate phrase. You can say, I'm waiting for your reply. Can you please help me? And so on. Waiting for your advice. And at last, you write your name. Write your first name. For example, Ali, Naif, Khalid, and so on. Let's see a model letter. Model letter asking for advice. Dear Mr. Ron, I've got a problem and I don't know what to do. I can't study English and I always get bad marks in the exams. I feel down. Or you can say, I'm upset. I need your advice. What should I do? Can you please help me? Ali. Very good. And now, my dear students, I'd like you to write a letter asking for advice about your own problems. Okay? But now let's move on to our workbook, page 101, exercise D. Read the phrases from 1 to 10. Where would you use them? Where can you use these phrases? Write A for a letter asking for advice. We can use some of these phrases in a letter asking for advice, and we can use the others in a letter giving advice. Okay, we will write A for a letter asking for advice and write G for a letter giving advice. Let's start with the first one. Number 1, I feel down. Yes, this is a letter giving advice or asking for advice. Very good. Asking for advice. So we will write A. A refers to a letter asking for advice. Very good. Number 2, I think you should talk to your friend. I think you should. Here, I'm giving advice. So we will write G. Very good. Giving advice. Excellent. Number 3, I need your advice. I need advice. Asking for advice. Good. Number 4, what should I do or what can I do? Very good. Asking for advice. Number 5, perhaps you shouldn't eat lots of junk food. You shouldn't. Here, I'm giving advice. So, G, giving advice. Very good. Number 6, it's going to be alright. It's going to be alright. Everything is going to be alright. Here is I'm giving advice. Don't worry, it's going to be alright. Giving advice. Very good. Number 7, I've got a problem with my best friend. Yes, asking for advice. I'm in trouble. I'm in a problem. Okay, asking for advice. Very good. Number 9, calm down. Don't worry. Very good. Giving advice. G. And the last one, I don't know what to do. I need help. I don't know what to do. Asking for advice. Excellent, boys. Okay. Thank you everybody for watching the video. Until we meet the next time, I wish you all the best of luck.